Friends here.
Hello, everyone. Matt's on there, Craig. When
Yeah,
you
I got him. And I just need to make a slight adjustment to, there we go. All right. And it looks like we're live streaming, so this is awesome. Welcome
look
everybody.
looks like you made Rochelle co-host.
Oh, did I?
It might have moved on you.
Oh, it did. You know what? Nothing personal, Michelle, but thank you for your
Hey,
patience.
Bill. Hi, Lisa Marie. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Matt, my son. Hi, Jody. Peter and
There we
Linda.
go. Great to see.
Sandy, Mike, Kai, Peter and Linda. Peter and Linda. Peter. No,
Happy
I'm kidding.
Saturday, everybody.
Melody, Saturday, Sunday.
Sunday, Jesus.
Rochelle and Jamie.
All right. Welcome, each and every one of you. It is, as we have said, Sunday, April 28th, noon p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, or whatever time it happens to be where you are watching, because you are watching us right now. It is time for the Imaginators.
Love it, Craig.
It's so great to do something like that. Just a little fun thing. Um, Gotta say thank you so much, everybody, for participating. We're over 7,145 subscribers right now and
A
continuing to
million.
grow.
We over a million views too.
Yes, over 1 million views, according to the YouTube, over the lifetime of this channel. So we gotta say thank you to everybody who's viewing us and continuing to spread the word too. Got to talk to YouTube about that million viewer thing that I think they have. So, yeah,
Now
definitely
it's
got.
the first award that they give. Not that I would have it on my vision board and know exactly what it is.
All right, hang on a second.
Uh,
Let me spotlight it. There it is.
okay.
Yeah.
Is this one here is 100,000 subscribers. So they don't do it by views.
Okay. So we got some work to do, everybody, to get to that 100,000 mark, and with your help, which we've been able to grow, thank you. Uh, we will get there. We will get there. We will get there. Okay. All right. So, to before we get started, just want to let you know that if you'd like to share with our Imaginators, very simple to do. Go ahead and type your question if you have a question in either of the chats on YouTube or Zoom, and we will go ahead and respond. Otherwise, if you want to take a brief talk. Robert's going to share something with us first, and then we will go ahead and start. You can go ahead and raise your hand by simply putting your cursor in the middle of the screen on Zoom, then clicking on the reactions button, and then clicking on raise hand. Otherwise, if you don't see that reactions button at the bottom of your screen, click on the three dots that say more, then click on reactions, then click on raise hand, and we will call on you, like Deborah Bronner's hand just went up. So, that being said, let's get things rolling on this beautiful, I hope it's beautiful where you are, Sunday. Of course, it's beautiful whenever the Imaginators get together. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Mr. Hollis.
Holy cow, his head turned red. Thank you, Craig.
Oh my
Thank you,
gosh, it
Craig.
sure did.
Yeah, hostess with the mostest. And I wanted to say hi, Rochelle. Nice to have you on here. Hi, Kelly. James, nice to have you on here. Karen, Jamie, Kai, Melody, Mary, and Jay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys something really quick. And then believe it or not, you guys got a huge treat today. Matthew and Craig are going to do the majority of the Imaginator course. So you guys will get all the really high tech stuff. When just a quick thing on being an Imaginator, I shared with you guys sort of the home and a story, that me and Terry, took a motorcycle and, lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. I mean, not a 1-bedroom apartment. That would have been huge. It was a studio apartment. and our furniture was wood and bricks, and I had to push my motorcycle in and out of the apartment on the third floor, so no one would steal it. And so when we bought the piece of property that we are in now, there was a like a pretty big ditch. I think the ditch, if you stood in it, the ditch would probably be about waist level, maybe a little higher. And it was like about, I don't know, about maybe 5 feet across. It was not as big as my arm span. And so this thing that ran across our entire 3 acres of property was an artesian water that went all the way to the Yellowstone River. And so what I did when I got the piece of property is I turned those that ditch into 3 humongous ponds, because it was artesian water. If our culverts ever get plugged that go underneath the county road, it will flood half of our property. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So what I did is I created a waterfall for my wife. So I dug out these ponds, built a waterfall, and then on the other side, we made a driveway, and then I put a culvert underneath that driveway. But then I built this giant metal thing because it would plug up, and I built this thing, and it never ever plugged after that. Well, it rusted and it fell down after all these years. So I'm in the middle of, my wife freaks out because we have these giant irrigation ditches for farmland. And when those fill up and the farmers start watering their fields, that's what raises the water table to fill up my ponds. So I'm going to take a video for you guys, but my wife's freaking out because when the ditches fill up, it sometimes takes less than 3 or 4 days for our ponds to fill. So it's pretty cool when the water level goes down that it can go all the way down so we can clean them. You know what I mean? We can clean them and make them really nice. So I'm going to show you guys a quick video. Hang on a second.
It's not me doing the ice bucket challenge, is it?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Here we go. Oh, I could show you guys that one. No, I'm not gonna. Okay. So let me show you guys this quick. We'll set Matt up. And so this is
look
the
at those
water.
guys.
This is the waterfall that we built, and this is during the ice challenge. So
I am Matthew Hollis. I was nominated by Hannah Ebert for the Ice Bucket Challenge for ALS. About to get drenched in ice water under the waterfall. I nominate Josh Thomas, Derek McCollum, and my brother Kyle Hollis. Do it. Singing for the water.
now where's Zoom?
I keep saying every time I see this video, I love seeing Bo in the background just rolling around.
Yeah. Yep. That was our big English cream, Golden, that unfortunately only was with us for 6 years. So I'm going to go fix the other part of that pond. So when we moved into this place, I don't know if, God, we probably have some other pictures that I can show you guys of the property, but it's neat to have an imagination and have a piece of property like this and really, really do some neat things. So I never thought I will do that real cool since I brought it up. Okay. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, we got it.
So
Oh, what a beautiful picture.
this is our property, and there's one of the ponds. This one's so big and deep, you could, if you drove an RV in here, it would sink and you wouldn't see it. So our piece of property goes from here, and there's the fence for Dex and Leo now. And then waterfall was here. This is where Matt was standing. And then our piece of property goes all the way over here. So I'll have to go up the street a little bit. Yeah, so this is all our property too. So 18 sprinkler zones.
It's so funny because Kyle is the one that mows it, my younger brother, but we both had to mow it when I was growing up. And what's so funny about it is this property, even though with all the space it had, it made me realize I never wanted more than like an acre and a half without hiring somebody to do the yard work. Because it is a whole day task. I don't know how my younger brother does it by himself now. So
Right. And so you can see how hilly it is. So the boys always, our driveway that goes all the way here. So coming down the driveway during the ice, that's why you guys always seen me. I got to clear that driveway or we can't get out of the property.
yeah, when it turns all to ice, it's definitely I've slid down it. So
Yeah. Well, you guys snowboarded off that one part.
no, I've slid a car down it. and
So
freaked out.
I would freak out too. I mean, you don't have no control there at certain points.
Yeah, I was telling Hannah to bail out of the car because I thought we were going into the ponds, but then I was like, no, we got it.
So what I'm going to do is turn you guys over in very ample hands with Craig Jackman and Matthew. And I love and appreciate you guys. And I'm going to go fix our culvert so our land doesn't get flooded. And I'll see you guys on the next Imaginator and Inner Circle. So I love and appreciate you. Better hands. Take care. See you guys soon. Bye for now.
Love you, Dad.
Love you,
too,
Matt.
Thanks for
Robert.
sharing.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you. And yeah, let's. I see two hands that are raised up. I see Deborah Bronner and Kai Au. So we can get started with those two.
Yeah, I want to run through some announcements first, if you don't
Yes,
mind.
please.
Like a bunch
Go
of
for it.
stuff, if you don't mind.
All right. I hope you guys are ready to take notes because we got some good things coming.
Let me make sure I got the right screen in the right place here.
Okay.
I've got so many. Let me see.
Not that. No,
There
the
we
other
go.
one. The other one. There you go. That's it.
There we go. Now,
All right.
now we're at a position, right?
All right, everybody.
So-
here we go. Hang on. Take notes.
I'm gonna
please.
go through, yeah, I'm gonna go through a couple of announcements with AI that's kind of like drastically changed quite a few things. I keep talking about how the process of these tools coming out is like speeding up exponentially. And I don't know if you guys have seen the amount of stuff that's changed drastically, even in robotics, right? Like there's so many companies creating robots right now that are very, very, very good at what they do. And that process is speeding up exponentially. Yeah, believe it or not, me and my wife decided to invest more money into NVIDIA and Microsoft and a bunch of these companies, and that's been going up. So that's pretty cool as well. If I'm not giving any, I'm not into that stuff, so I don't know. I just invest in these companies because I trust them. So the first thing I want to show you guys is Adobe Premiere. Adobe Premiere is an editing software. It's one that I would say is at the tippity top of at least like independent development. It has been used to edit some feature-length movies. I believe The Social Network was actually edited on Premiere. But I'm going to show you guys something that's really, really crazy. This is something that not everybody expected to have happen because you see these massive companies and you assume, and this is one of those things I'll talk about here in a little bit too, but when you see a company the size of Adobe, or when you see a company the size of Meta or Microsoft, you assume that they would want to do every single thing in-house, right? They would want to build their own AI systems. They would want to build their own video generators, and Adobe has been doing that. But what's so interesting about AI is how exponentially things are speeding up now allows a lot more collaboration, right? So before, a lot of companies would compete against each other, but now we're in this state where they're like, if we don't collaborate, we're done, right? Because they're just faster than us at this particular spot in AI. So I'm going to show you as a video editing software, and just know that in the future, near future, by the end of the year, they said, this update will be out, which means the step process would be using, and Adobe won't be the only software suite to do this, but using just Adobe Premiere and writing is enough to create a whole entire feature-length movie in the future. And I'm going to show you how that can happen. So let's watch this quick trailer here. It's mostly just got music over the background, so you guys won't really hear much of it, but I'm going to play it.
Adobe is using the power of generative AI to deliver the most advanced and precise editing tools ever in Premiere Pro. Let's take a look at some features coming soon powered by our new Adobe Firefly video model that'll transform how editors work. One common editing challenge is finding something in a shot you need to add or replace. The Object Addition feature in Premiere Pro, combined with Adobe's Firefly video model, lets you add or change objects in footage with a text prompt. Make a selection, write a prompt, and add anything you can imagine. These diamonds were created by the Firefly video model currently in development.
So imagine, you guys, like, imagine the fact that we've been in a state, even in the last couple of months, where you could generate any type of thing into a photo in the background. Like, you know, my background that you see here, believe it or not, similar to what you've seen with Bill, except I've seen a lot of studios do this, but my whole background space, like if I go to it right now, right? Half of this, just this right here, I could take a picture of, and I could generate everything on the sides that you see here, and none of it could be real. And I could do that all with Photoshop and just lay it over my background. So then people will go, wow, look at that. He's in a big, gigantic place with a bunch of books. The reality is, it's just this. Now, these are my books, but I'm saying you could do it. You know what I mean? It's insane how fast you could produce stuff. So we're going to go back to this video here, but it's crazy to me that in the near future, you could just grab a tool and drag it over a place and put anything there. And you're going to see how they take things out and all different kinds of stuff in this video. So we're going to get back into it.
And not only can you add objects, but you can easily remove them too. Object removal with AI-based smart masking makes selecting and removing objects across frames quick and precise. Here, this distracting utility box is removed with Firefly. Remove unwanted props, crew or gear, or copyrighted elements like brand logos. And with Premiere Pro, all your edits are non-destructive, so you can always get back to your original footage. When your clip is too short and you want to hold on a shot or a character for an extra beat, Generative Extend intelligently adds frames with Firefly, extending your footage, so you have the exact media you need. Like here, where we extend this shot of the woman a few frames. As we continue to innovate, we're committed to transparency through the use of content credentials. Now coming to Premiere Pro, so you always know whether AI was used in the creation of the media you're viewing. We can't wait to bring these Firefly-powered video editing workflows to Premiere Pro later this year. And there's more.
Yeah, so before all of this stuff that they announced right there, people were like, okay, we get it. We knew Adobe was coming out with some type of video generative AI tools. And to see them like in action is really nuts. Like to see them just remove something and have the video be clear, change somebody's shirt. You know, we're in a very near future where you could sit in front of the camera and have just woken up and then put it in a video editing software and make yourself look like a professional in a business situation just off of that. And then like we're very close to that, right? But this part in particular, no one expected. So here we go.
We're excited to share our explorations around giving editors the choice to use models that work best with their footage. Here are some early examples of how third-party generative AI models could look within Premiere Pro, like Pika, powering Generative Extend to make a scene flow better. From OpenAI, here's an example of their Sora model, currently in early research, generating B-roll for any scene. Through simple text prompts, Sora creates variations for you to choose from. Here's the same use case now using Runway AI's video model, generating a new video clip and adding it to the timeline in a snap. And content credentials coming to Premiere Pro this year will always make transparent whether AI was used and what model was used in the creation of media. To recap, revolutionary features like Object Add, Remove, and Generative Extend, powered by the new Adobe Firefly video model, are coming to Premiere Pro. And we're excited to show early research explorations with our friends at OpenAI, Runway, and Pika, so editors have the freedom to use the best model for their project. It's Adobe Premiere Pro, supercharged by AI.
So obviously that's a big deal for many reasons. We always assume that as Sora came out, which is one of the, I mean, if you guys have seen, I'm going to show you guys here in a second what someone made for TED Talks. But Sora obviously is incredibly powerful and capable of doing a lot of things that a lot of these other ones like Pika and Runway can't do. But the fact that they're implementing all of these tools inside of a video editing software changes the game completely. Because if you've been in my situation or you've generated anything so far, there's always another step that you have to do, right? You're like generating things and then you're like, great, now I got the clip, now I got to go put it in Adobe and now I have to edit it. The fact that I could just sit here, like you could wake up in the future, write down a short commercial or a short story, open up your editing software and create the whole entire thing from scratch, which is very cool for someone like me that wants to even mix like a little bit of real and a little bit of not, like they were doing, right? It's like, okay, getting a bunch of fake diamonds together, not that impossible. You know, you could have went and bought a bunch of fake diamonds and filled that with a bunch of fake diamonds. That box, that generative remove, not that big of a deal. You could have got a professional VFX person to get rid of that box in the shot and they would have been able to do it. But what's so interesting is how quickly you're able to do these things and how much of your production or the things that you're doing can be thought of in post-production sense now in comparison of pre-production. So before it's always like, okay, where are we buying the diamonds? Where are we getting this? Where are we getting that? And for some of us that don't even want to go out in the field and shoot things, my volume went down. Okay.
Yeah, it did a little bit.
Here, I'll switch it back. How about now? Are we back?
Ah, there we go. That did it.
Okay, cool.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Kelly.
so yeah, no problem. If something's going on, let me know, guys. But with this stuff, it gives us the ability not just to make stuff really quickly, but as these tools come out, you guys, of course, we're going to go into detail on how to use them. You know, in here, you're going to be seeing me. So you've watched me with like all the wires and all the things trying to figure out AI, and it's exponentially moving at such a pace that now I'm going to be able to use my favorite video editing software to create things. And this is going to happen by the end of the year. They said 2024, and of course, Sora will be out by the end of the year as well. So with that said, I'm going to go into another video and then I'll do a couple other announcements and then we'll get into Q&A, okay? So this is another video here. Let me switch my audio back so we can listen here. So this video, if my mic's a little quiet, I'm sorry, but this video is from someone that has had the ability. So Paul Trillo has been open to using Sora. So he created a commercial of what will TED Talks look like in 40 years, completely with Sora, right? So this whole video of 1 minute and 33 seconds you're about to see was completely made by Sora. So this is all AI. Are you ready? Let's watch. Yeah.
You might want to start it over and reset the sound for it.
Yeah, let me see here. So it's so interesting. I'm trying to figure out why Zoom has this specific feature that you have to turn on for this live.
Original sound for musicians. You have that?
Oh, okay.
Turn that on. Just click on that button and it'll turn it on, and that
Okay.
should do it.
Perfect. All right, now we should be good. Okay, I'm gonna play it from the beginning.
Not there.
Still don't have it.
No, I don't know. I'm hearing like.
But okay, let me see here. I'm just gonna link this to you, Craig. You could pull it up if you want. Or
Okay.
actually, let me see if I can just share my screen and do it. All right.
Yeah, why don't you do that? That should be simple because you've got co-host.
Okay. Then is there a certain thing I have to turn on for audio on here?
Yeah, when you see that pop-up window to the right side and up, there's two boxes. Make sure you click on both of those.
All right. Let me see here. Can you guys hear this? You can hear it better?
Barely.
Okay.
Are you sure? Were those two boxes checked?
You see. Okay, I think I got it now.
All right, try it again. That's it. There you go.
Cool. I'm gonna mute myself. I'll watch this over, and then this is the last video. So thanks, guys, for your patience.
Wow.
That whole video was all made with AI. So the crazy thing about that is, I mean, other than the obvious, is you guys, I just showed you the editing software where Sora will be in it. Everybody will have those tools at the end of by the end of this year. So basically anything that your imagination you can think of, you saw Paul coming up with different things and just keep going through clips. You can do it any way you want to, right? But it's insane to me, like how far this technology has moved so quickly. Like, you know, the movie industry and the filmmaking industry is already moving as fast as they can to, they went from going against AI, right? To now Hollywood is immediately like, please let us use this as soon as possible. Like OpenAI has already been meeting with Hollywood studios, including like Disney and a bunch of other ones. So what the ramifications of this, of course, are going to be a lot of people are going to VFX people are going to lose their jobs. But I continue to be the person to advocate for like the whole anti-corporation aspect of it. I think all of those people that lose their jobs will now have the opportunity to create anything they want and beat Disney. Like their imagination is the one that's important, and Disney doesn't realize this yet. A lot of these big companies don't realize that the creative people that they're about to get rid of are the people that will topple them completely. Right? Because the response to, oh, we don't need you guys anymore. We don't need your creativity anymore. We have robots to do it. They'll just go, all right, I have the actual skills. So I'm just going to go into the software that can make it for me and make cool shit and beat you guys. Because yes, you can prompt an AI, but composition, a lot of these other things that artists know are not things that AI can really replace. You still have to have an eye for what looks good, an eye for what feels good. So, yeah, I think that when I see this stuff come out, all of these announcements, you know, this one was made on the 19th. So, and then the Adobe thing, I think, was made this week. So to think that we're kind of already at that space, right, it is nuts to me. So the next thing that I'm going to go into, we're going to go back to sharing my screen here. I'll pull up my video. Where is it? There we go. All right. So the next thing I have to show you guys, I've shown you guys this before, but I'm going to share it again because I don't see a reason not to. I think the more I share these AI tools with you guys, the better. So Meta.ai. So Meta now has their own AI suite. You have to have photo or Facebook or a Meta account or an Instagram account to use this. But Meta AI, believe it or not, this is just as good as Chat GPT-4. Like already, right? And this is what's crazy about what Meta's doing is they're open sourcing all of this stuff, which is just nuts to me, right? So this model that they have running on this website, which is free, that can, you know, simulate a mock interview. It could do anything Chat GPT could do, but there's a thing that it can do that Chat GPT can't yet. And that's like visualize certain things. So when you ask it to do certain things, it can create things in real time. So you could be like an alien walking on the moon. Why won't it design it? We'll see. Now, me personally, I'm sharing these tools with you guys. I haven't really practiced with this one in particular because I'm still in the chat GPT world myself. But if one of you guys were like, I don't want to pay for chat GPT, right? I don't want to pay the $20. This is free, right? And can do a lot of that. So when I say go start a conversation and ask it how to grow your YouTube channel, you could do that on here with Meta AI. You don't need chat GPT. And this, believe it or not, is automatically connected to the internet. Meta AI is. So you can ask it questions about the internet or about current events and it will know, right? But the cool thing is with these pictures, so it gave me 4, an alien walking on the moon. I got a couple here. I prefer, I think, this one. You can edit it in real time, ask it what changes you want it to make, right? So I want him to wear alien to wear a top hat. Let's see if it does it. Like I said, I'm new to this too. I haven't really messed around with this, so there's a good chance it doesn't do this on the first try. And like anything with AI, sometimes it's just better to keep prompting it until it gets it to a place that you want it. But we're gonna see how good it is right off the bat here at putting a top hat on the alien.
And I hope
Well,
everybody heard what Matt just said, is that you do have to help AI in specifically getting what you want. Don't just take it for what it is first time out of the box, because if it's not what you want, prompt it again, refine it, define it, and then that helps it learn and it helps you get a better image or idea or item that you want.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that that's one of those things that people like, they expect AI, at least at this point, to be very like turnkey. Like when they hear it's going to take people's jobs or it's going to do this or that or blah, 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 right? They see the software as something that's like something scary or something that's very advanced. The reality is it's still very much a work in progress, right? Like it still hallucinates bad answers, it still messes up pictures, it still messes up video. Now, is it exponentially speeding up at the rate at which it's not doing those things? Yes, which blows my mind, right? I'll show you guys another feature that this has since we're waiting for the top hat. There's an animate button down here. If you click animate, it's going to give you 4 separate animations, believe it or not, of that. So I think I just messed up my other thing. But what will happen is it'll have different pictures in here and they'll have like a little 2 to 3 second animation, right? So for any of you guys that don't want to pay for Pika or any of the other software that you even saw in that Adobe thing, you know, a lot of that stuff's not inexpensive. It's like a Pika, I think, for the unlimited one is $70 a month. So not everyone's going to want to spend that. But if you want to generate video, you could use that with Meta AI. Now, as I'm watching this happen, I could say that another thing that you'll need is patience, because I definitely do not, this takes a bit, right? So as this is working, it's free. Meta.ai is the domain. I'm just going to go into a couple of other stories now while we're waiting on this stuff. So there's this like hip hop beef going on right now, as funny as it sounds. And I don't know how many of you guys know who Drake is. I'm sure you guys know who Drake is, right? Drake is like one of the biggest artists on the planet right now. He's a hip hop artist. So what happened is there's like this beef going on between him and another. Yes, Meta is Facebook, Lisa Marie. But there's this rap diss going back and forth between these two hip hop artists, big ones. And Drake utilized Tupac, which is one of the best hip hop artists of all time's voice in a track. And if you listen to it, you can't anymore because he had to take it down. But he utilized Snoop Dogg and Tupac's voice, and you could not tell that these voices weren't Tupac and Snoop Dogg. And it was through Drake. Now, as you can see in this article here, Tupac's family is suing Drake now, probably, for utilizing that. And this is going to be a whole big thing. I brought this up for a reason. It'll be interesting to see how lawsuits like this go, because if Drake loses the lawsuit, then that means that sets a precedent that, yes, if you utilize someone's AI voice for anything, that you can sue them. If Drake wins this lawsuit or it gets thrown out, we're in a whole nother world, you guys, because then that basically means you know, you're open to utilizing other people's voices for your work, right? Like imagine making Lisa Marie making an animated thing, and then all of a sudden you could use David Attenborough's voice in certain ones, if you guys know who David Attenborough is. So I wanted to share this with you guys because the ramifications of this will be interesting. Meta is coming out with their next set of Ray-Ban sunglasses. This is the next push into augmented reality, right? So these sunglasses have AI in them. They had an iteration of these before, but it's really speeding up exponentially as well, where these have these are cameras in here, right? They're Ray-Bans. They come in multiple different colors, but believe it or not, they also have a speaker that speaks directly into your ear, and you can talk to that Meta AI I just showed you with these sunglasses on anywheres. So you could take video calls, you could record your family, you could do whatever. It all goes right to your phone and everything like that. So this is the next step. So like you could see here, like, hey, Meta, play some music. And now it's playing music, but they've developed these speakers where like no one else can really hear it. It's just your ear. So it's insane to me. So it's like you could look at a building and say, hey, Meta, look and tell me about this building. And it would tell you, hey, this building is the Statue of Liberty, or this building is the Empire State Building. Look and tell me what I can make for breakfast. You look at your fridge. It looks at everything in the fridge and goes, looks like you have some eggs, you have some bacon. You can make a really nice breakfast, you know, with these things. Here's how you'd prep that. You'd be looking at your eggs and go, are these eggs done? And it would go, no, they're not. So everything I showed you with this Meta AI is built into these sunglasses, even the image generation. So if you said, hey, could you make an image of the Empire State Building that I'm looking at, but make it into a 3D cartoon, all you'd have to do is pull up your phone and you'd see it, right? Or like Lisa Marie, if you looked at a horse, right? Said, could you make this horse with angel wings and everything like that, right? It would be able to do that, hopefully in the near future. As you can see, maybe not right now, but but it's getting there, right? So another thing that I'll share with you guys, because this is a big week for Meta. Meta also announced that their whole entire VR stuff. So I have a VR headset right there, right? That's a Meta one. And for a long time, they've been developing like this virtual reality and augmented reality space. So I showed you guys those Meta glasses, and I showed you guys the VR headsets. They're mostly used to play games nowadays, but as you guys know, like the Vision Pro headset from Apple is more of like a workspace. But now that we're in this situation, believe it or not, Meta has opened up their tools to everybody. So no longer will it just be Meta headsets. They've already announced that Microsoft, Lenovo, Samsung, and one other are all making glasses and all making VR headsets based off of that Horizon ecosystem. So those Ray-Ban glasses are just the beginning, right? They plan on putting that software in a lot of, so you guys are going to watch similar like Android, right? You know, like Apple is like closed where you only have Apple software on Apple phones. And then Android, there's like, you could buy a you know, Motorola phone, you could buy a Google phone. They all work on the same ecosystem. Their plan is to be the open ecosystem for those things to compete against Apple, right? Which will all be closed. When they come out with their own glasses, it'll be like, it's just Apple, right? So really, really cool. Look forward to seeing what happens with this. This was kind of like a really big announcement, because if you guys were in this ecosystem for Meta, you'd know how closed down it is. Like it's been very closed source for a long time. So the fact that anyone can use it now, it's going to exponentially grow the amount of VR and AR pieces of technology that will exist. So one more thing. Adobe just came out with their new Firefly model. This is their generative AI thing. So if you guys have Photoshop, or you could just go to Google Adobe Firefly, this is really, really good at changing a lot of different things. I'll post this article in here if you guys want to see. But if any of you guys use Photoshop, it's about to be super powered. If you guys have seen like the backgrounds on the thumbnails that we have, and the changes of my dad's shirt, Hawaiian shirt, and the thumbnails, that's all with Adobe Photoshop. So all I'm doing is highlighting my dad's shirt and then saying, I want a Hawaiian shirt with blue flower patterns. And it's replacing his whole entire shirt with that, right? Or the background, I'm going, I want a I want a McDonald's restaurant, but make it neon colors. And then it's like, boom, I have that picture right behind him automatically. I don't need to do any other steps, right? And eventually this is going to be in video too, like you guys saw. So then it's like even more super powered. You know, if my dad's sitting there doing a presentation, I could make him I could put him anywhere I want. I could put anything in the background of his videos I want just in editing, which is insane to me. So there's a video on that. I don't really need to show you guys that. Pika came out with styles. So if you guys do have Pika, you now can prompt it with different styles. So when I say styles, there's like, it's basically this, right? You can type any prompt, click style on the bottom, and pick the style that you want it to be in. So you'll see here in a second that they've got quite a few. It's like, okay, I want it to be a 3D render. Now it will be that, right? So now you have a 3D rendered looking pigeon. But if you want to edit it, you just click edit, style again, and change it to something else. You want it to be claymation, you want it to be anime, or do you want it to be anything else? And you'll see that the whole entire style of the video changes. So what's very cool about this tool is consistency of AI stuff sometimes can be pretty hard, right? So having the ability to stick with the same style is pretty important. So with that said, that's all kind of like the announcements. There's another really big announcement, although I don't really know, I don't really know what to speak of it because I don't think it'll ever come out. But Microsoft showed how you can take a singular picture. I'll show you guys this actually because the ramifications for it are huge. Face AI. Let me see here. I think it's called Vesa 1. Okay. When you guys see this, don't get scared, all right? It scared me a little, but so this is from Microsoft, which means also OpenAI had something to do with this. And this is their single image audio clip to complete control. So all I need of you guys, imagine this, right? All I need is say my dad's face in a single image and an audio clip, which I can generate with his voice because all I need is a minute of his voice to do that. And here's what you can do with it in the future. So this is an image that's being moved.
We can't hear it.
I'll share my screen. Give me a second.
No, still not hearing it.
It's probably, I got to do some audio thing on here.
Well, typically when you
Got
set those, try it again. No, typically when you set those in the beginning, the first time you do a screen share, it should continue. So I don't know why we're not hearing it.
It could be because,
unless you're running it through whatever it is you're running through besides.
Yeah, I'm running it through a different software. So just give me a second. If you wanted to, Craig, actually, I'm just going to send this to you. You pull it up if you don't mind.
Sure. No problem.
Since you got all that set up, and then I can talk about it instead of
let me
messing
go
with it.
Scroll down to that. Come on, load.
And then we'll get into questions, guys. I know it's Sunday. I appreciate your guys' patience. I hope you're getting value out of all of this. I like to keep you guys up to date with all of the stuff that's happening. And this, like I said, I don't know if this will ever see the light of day, like in a public space for many reasons that you're about to see, but this is going to take a singular image, turn it into a video, and it is just about the most realistic version of this I've ever seen. So go ahead, Craig, share
Have you ever had, maybe you're in that place right now where you want to turn your life
There's
around,
no audio
and you
coming
know
through.
somewhere deep in
I
your
hear it.
soul, there could be some decisions that
We can
you
hear it,
have
Craig.
to make. Like, like it's like something was decided for you. And instead of trying to make something that is done work, it's like the invitation is to make the decision, commit to that, and to start creating what comes next. But here's the thing. When we say no to something, we're saying yes to something else.
Go ahead and play a
but
different
that
one,
involves
Craig.
a lot of unknown.
All right.
And that is scary.
Just
I
so
have many
people
videos.
can see.
The first thing we need to look at is the letter H, so the sound at the beginning. It depends what country you're from, but many native languages have a problem with putting too much tightness in the throat, and it can become more of a sound.
All right, you
so
can
it's very
pause it, Craig.
important not to over-exaggerate this sound. It's a very
Thank you so much for sharing. So basically, this stuff, right? Like I showed you guys up here, takes a single image. So imagine having like, imagine you felt like you looked the best that you did when you went to this event. You got all dressed up, you looked great, you looked amazing. And you love for all the videos that you record to have like you looking your best, right? This in the future, you'll be able to take any picture of yourself and just record an audio clip and then it will be able to just generate a video of you talking, right? And it'll be very realistic. So this is the future of where avatars are going, believe it or not. So I believe in the future, every person online will have an avatar version of themselves, their likeness that looks the best. And when we get on these Zoom chats, it'll just be a bunch of people's avatars there that look their best talking to each other, right? So then as we move into a space of everybody working from home, when we get on meetings, we could be in our pajamas, but the version of ourselves that everyone's looking at us talk through is actually like a very high quality version of us, right? So it makes shooting videos easier, but of course, as you guys can see, the ramifications for this stuff, just like Sora, OpenAI has already announced that Sora, and Microsoft has announced that this technology, a lot of these things are going to come out after the United States election. Because as you guys can see, this stuff could cause extreme damage. And that's if it's in open hands. You know, all of this stuff is going to be used by the government and a bunch of other things, right? They already got control of all these tools. So it's an interesting thing to think. But I just want to warn you guys as we go into, and I've done this before, but as we go into this whole new cycle of what life is with all these AI tools, just be aware that what you're seeing on the internet could be fake more than it ever has been. Like I've said before, there are people that have built million-plus followings on Facebook by generating fake pictures and videos of houses or of things that have not happened, and they get millions of millions of likes. So what ends up happening is I'll be scrolling and I'll see a photo on Facebook. I'm not really on Facebook that much anymore. But I'll scroll through Facebook or I'll see it somewhere else and it'll have like 1 million comments and likes about this kid that built in Africa, built this huge structure. And everyone will be like, I can't believe that this happened. Like, he's a genius. Get him out here, stat. It's all AI. Like the picture's AI, the kid's AI. But everyone's so enticed by it, right? They're talking about it. And this is just going to become more and more so a thing, right? So it's going to become, and you saw with Adobe and even with Meta, they're trying to get credentials that are attached to these photos and stuff to tell that they're AI. But I think only a trained person is going to know that. Like, you're not going to be able to train every single person on how to notice or figure out that that's AI. So with that said, I'm going to look in chat real quick and see if there's anything, because I know you guys have been chatting here.
Yeah, there's a couple of
Craig,
questions in there. There's a couple of questions. One thing I did want to mention when you brought up the glasses earlier, Matt, was the Bose. I don't know if anybody's ever seen it yet. And the only reason was I tried those on at like Best Buy. Now, they're not the AI glasses in the front, but if you ever want to hear what Matt was talking about with the audio, there are tiny little speakers. Let's see. For what, I don't know how they do it. It's incredible.
Yeah,
if you can see my glasses right here, they fit literally right here on the ear stem. There, right here, facing down. And it just is incredible how the sound is.
Craig's right. This is the modern VR headset, right? So this is the Quest 3 from Meta.
Mm-hmm.
This is what he means right here. So you see those little lines?
Yeah.
Those are actually speakers. And believe it or not, when I have this headset on and I'm listening to things, no one else can hear them.
Yeah.
It blows my mind how they figured out a frequency that close to your ear to make that work. It's insane.
Well, when you think
So
about it,
yeah,
Matt, you look at the earbuds now where they're getting smaller and smaller, and you've got Bose already that has come out with noise
right.
canceling. I mean, I've got the full headset, but when you can see that they are just as small as these little earpieces in my ear, if not now getting smaller, and the fact that you have the hearing aids that are just as sensitive, and nobody can hear what's going on in those hearing aids. It's
Right.
incredible, the technology, not just visually, but audio wise, orally is incredible. There are a couple of questions here.
Yeah.
Jamie mentioned one here. Would they not let it come out for the bad people trying to get ransoms or something like that? Yeah, that is going to be an issue too, because it's already an issue.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations, and I've talked about this before because on here people have said, well, like what are the ramifications for some of this AI stuff? And I always go back into the past and go, what has been the ramifications for the internet? How many scams have happened because of the internet? How many scams have happened because of the telephone or mail or any of these other different inventions that we've had? Like there's always going to be bad actors in every single piece of technology and situation. It's more important to be aware. But the cool thing about this situation is we're kind of coming to a place where you'll have the world's best helper at your side to do it. So what will end up happening is as these scams start to grow, all of us will also have AI in our pockets to go, no, that's fake.
Yeah.
And their goal is to train these AIs to realize this, believe it or not. And this is going to be another one of those scary concepts. But OpenAI has said that they've had to train smaller AIs as they're training the next version of GPT, because sometimes GPT will go rogue and go in a different direction. And we need a whole nother AI to realize that it's doing that. We don't even know that that's happening. So it will lie on purpose, and we need to realign it back so it doesn't try to mislead us into kind of like one of those events, right? Where it's like, oh no, everything's good. Put me on a floppy drive and plug me into another computer. Everything will be fine, right? So
Incredible.
listen,
There
this
are
was going to happen anyway with this technology. Of course, if you guys have seen Oppenheimer or know about the nuclear bomb technology, we're at kind of one of those precipices right now where we're inventing a technology that, yes, could be extremely dangerous, just like a nuclear weapon, but it also could be the reason that we no longer have world wars, right? 1,000,000%, everybody here knows, I think, that we would be in some kind of world war if there wasn't mutually assured destruction with nuclear weapons. Like humans would be fighting each other. They already are right now. And the only thing that's stopping us all from fighting is that mutually assured destruction, that someone will use a nuclear weapon and then it's all over, right? Like, because then we use them and then they'd use them and then we're all gone. So I think, yes, it's the most destructive piece of technology to ever exist. But then at the same time, it's also the thing that stops us from destroying each other. So everything's got to give and take. AI will be very dangerous, especially in dangerous people's hands, but it's also the best defense technique and network that we've ever seen. So as this technology grows, you guys saw like when Iran attacked Israel with all those missiles and stuff, a majority of those missiles did not get through and were shot down because of technology. In the future, that will exist even more so the case, except you'll have an AI looking over all of those things. And they'll be very good at stopping other AIs, rogue AIs, from doing those things. So if, say, Russia wants to shoot missiles at us, they just have to hope that their artificial intelligence is better than ours. And I doubt it will be. So I think that that's now the new nuclear bomb, right? When you see the development of AI technologies, I just saw that the United States and Japan just teamed up on AI technology. And it's interesting because we're working on the next version of a nuclear bomb, and you see certain countries like China play around with like attacking Taiwan or play around with attacking Japan, these different types of things. I think with AI existing, that will be a thing of the past, right? Because when Japan has that level of AI in their defense systems, you better hope that the people in China are as good as our developers, which I don't want to talk shit on China, but they just haven't been in comparison, at least in this piece of technology. So I hope that, yeah.
Okay, we've got a few questions ahead.
Yeah.
I know there some people have posted in the chat, and I'm keeping track of those. So thank you everybody who's posted. But we've got a few people with their hands raised that we definitely want to get to.
Yeah, let's go
So,
through one of those first before we go through, just because I don't want everyone waiting. So
right, absolutely. So let's go ahead. I have Lisa Marie Cook, Kai Au, but first Deborah Bronner raised her hand. Deborah, go ahead, unmute yourself and share with us.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
hi, Deborah. Can hear you.
Hi, happy Sunday. I'm
Happy
so
Sunday.
excited to hear what you just told us all about.
That's
Let's
great.
see. Oh, there it goes underneath. Okay, so yeah, when I first raised my hand, now I have a ton more questions about all these
That's
AI.
fine. Yeah.
Um, I am going to reach out to you this week about projects I want to start and what would be
Okay.
the best tools. I didn't know that Meta had come this far. And boy, it sounds like maybe because you said it was free, right?
Mm-hmm. As
'Cause
long as
you
you have a Meta
yeah.
account, that's it. Yeah.
So that might be a better way. I'm still really trying to get some background about. I wanted to do that, dearest darling Winifred letters that my grandpa wrote my grandma during the war. And that now I have had my upbringing, my childhood memories transfer. I edited them together. All the Super 8 millimeter movies of my childhood and Christmases, birthdays, and family gatherings.
That's
And
so great.
it is, and everybody's in heaven. So it's like, so what I'm thinking I want to do is have AI or whoever I decide read the letters, but intermix there some pictures of what happens after the wedding, their wedding eventually, and the family. And then I want to invite others to post how they met their significant other, partner, whatever. And I'm just gonna need some guidance on the tools, which
Sure.
would best, help me. But gosh, I am so glad. I mean, this is the most exciting thing in my life right now. And
Mine too.
I can tell with all the enthusiasm in your voice. But I also want to talk to you about. I think I want to buy. I've been looking into the Samsung 24 with built-in AI laptop. Do you know anything about that yet?
So yeah, so it's interesting because as we're in this like space, Deborah, where marketing is sometimes king, right? Like we're in this space where the biggest buzzword word on the planet right now is AI, right? So it's
Right.
like this is infused. You could buy a fridge now and it's got AI in it, or you could do this and it's got AI in it, right?
Right.
The interesting thing is as AI starts to grow, the significance of physical technology will not matter as much. Like a lot of the stuff that's currently being done, like say if I was going to show you guys like the networks of AI that I'm working on and stuff, that's all being done with this computer right here. But in the future, it's all going to be done on a cloud on servers and just passed to you, right? So you won't really need like a high powered lab. Like I'm about to go on a 2-week vacation and visit my family in Montana. I do not have a laptop, if you guys can believe it. So I'm going to be there without any forms of anything. So my goal when I'm there is to actually edit together something completely on my phone and upload it. So when we get on the Imaginators call next Sunday or the Sunday after that, while I'm visiting, I can go through and go, look, here's what you can make all on your phone. And here's how I did it. You don't need a computer. You don't need any of these things. So I'm going to really force myself to utilize the tools that I've been sharing with you guys a little bit more than my high powered tools to see where I could really go with it. Right. So I wouldn't recommend, as far as buying like a new computer, it's dependent on, of course, your budget, of course, what you want to accomplish. I think having the AI in the computer, what they probably mean by that is it's like an AI assistant to help you with a lot of stuff. Windows 11 already has that. So if you have like a new version of Windows 11, there's this thing called Copilot, and you can Google it. But that is open AI. That's ChatGPT built into Windows. So There's ways to use that. I don't use that myself. I still like using the website and the app more than I like using it on my base computer, just because it gives me mobility, right? So if I was going to use the Meta AI, now I could use it on my phone when I'm not at home and generate things. Now I could use it, like I said, when I'm on vacation, as where if I was using just my computer, like the situation we're talking about, so you were building your whole project on a computer. Now, when I go travel for 2 weeks, I can't do anything with my project because I was doing it on this computer, right? Or the laptop, that'd be different. But I think that's going to change. Here's the thing. Every single week, couple of weeks, new technology comes up that makes this easier. If you would have asked me months ago what to do, I would have given you a different answer than I would have given you now. Because no one expected that we would have these pieces of technology in an editing software by the end of the year. Now, I'll tell you guys, I firmly believe that two things will happen with this. One, I 1000% believe that Adobe will figure out how to put the next version of ChatGPT inside of that so you could communicate for it to edit. I do not think in the future you'll have to do all of those moving things yourself. In the future, what will happen is you'll sit down and communicate with ChatGPT 5 that's built into Adobe software and go, could you make me a scene that looks like this? Could you change this? Could you do that? And I've said in the past, we're moving away from a system where you are the production to you're the director. So if you know what like a film director is or a creative director is, it's someone that sits there and has a bunch of departments come to them and go, what's this drawing look like? Does this costume look okay? Is this what you are looking for scene-wise, like a cinematographer? Just think of all those departments as AI in the future. So all you're doing is you're sitting in front of your computer or your phone and you're going, that's what I wanted my character to look like. Great, let's double down on that. And it goes, great, what do you want to happen next? And
So
it's
you're creating
in
real time.
Yes. Yeah. With your voice.
Right.
All the technology in the future will be communication based, because one of the hard parts, this is something that Apple solved with technology, which has changed our whole lives. But with the smartphones, a child could use them, right? We all understand touch. So they took a very complex piece of technology, mouse, keyboards, all of these things, buttons, and they simplified it so it would expand to all of humanity. Coding things like making apps, film, video games, music, all of these different avenues in the past have been locked down because you either had to learn this stuff or you had to have the income or have the ability to get people to help you do them. Right?
Right.
Because if you want to do it by yourself, you're talking years of your life to try to pull it off. And people have done solo projects, but it's a year endeavor, right?
Yes.
Yeah, now we're looking at none of that existing and it all being communication based in the next 6 months.
Wow. So exciting.
Yeah, it is very exciting.
I want to thank you because, before we started having Imaginators, you heard about AI and different things. But I really didn't have an opinion one way or the other yet. I wanted to hang on until I knew more. And I understand it can be dangerous in the wrong hands, but what's so exciting and new is the creative part. And you've got me just jazzed up because I'm limited physically because of injuries. So to just be able to be home and create beautiful things for myself and hopefully others, it's just really changed my world. Thank you, Matt and Craig and Robert.
No problem. And I plan on continuing to share each and every one of these updates with you guys. And as they expand and make it easier, like I said, there's going to be some people that are in this Imaginator group that have no desire to make a film or a video like me and you, Deborah, but they have all the desire in the world to make this app or this idea that they've had for a long time, but didn't have the programming knowledge to make it. That's also another whole entire thing, right? It's like, now you don't have to know how to program. All you have to do is talk to an AI and it will program it for you. And that's where like all the programmers are going to lose their jobs, right? So but like I said, now if you could talk to an AI and you know how to program, you have a leg up. So it's always interesting because people always are like, oh no, like I'm losing. And I live in Irvine, California. So this is kind of like the mecca of like Amazon Studios is close to me. There's a lot of Rivian technology, so AI cars and stuff, pickups and stuff. All these places are near me where I live. And I can tell you guys right now that a majority of the population and where I live is Chinese, without a shadow of a doubt. They're starting to put Chinese stuff on everything because, one, they're moving here because they're working with this technology, and a lot of Americans are not, right? They don't have a desire to get into AI as much as others. And then two, I'm watching mass layoffs happen and people moving out of these apartments and places around me because they're being laid off because of AI. So yeah, I moved in and there was like people everywhere, and now I'm seeing people move out because they no longer have a job here anymore. These places, we're moving away from, you guys are going to see a massive shift happen because everything that we've known and worked on, like think about it this way, even an office space, right? Say you have a bunch of office buildings, and I'm sure you guys know about this a little bit, but if you're going into an office, there's a whole ecosystem surrounding those offices that exist because they're there, whether it's restaurants, certain businesses for lunch, or certain things like Starbucks or any of these accessibility features to be around the offices. They exist because they know that people are going to go to work and come out and go get lunch and go get Starbucks. What happens when we're all working from home and none of that exists anymore? Because we're moving drastically towards that. So we're already kind of like losing these third spaces, as they call them, the places where you meet people. And then in the future, that's going to become even more so the case. But then VR and AR is going to show up and we're all just going to be in our house hanging out on a digital space with everybody, which is weird to think about, but call it good or bad. It's just evolution of the way things work. So
There's that movie Surrogates that came out with Bruce Willis, and
that honestly will be
wow.
the future. Yeah, we'll all be in a digital space that allows us to play out whatever we want, and the physical space will be a lot more, it'll just be different. It'll be very different, because when you think about the way that dopamine and the internet's already worked on the human brain, it's going to be very hard to be able to go into like put a chip on the side of not in your brain, but put a chip on the side of your brain in the near future, lay down in bed and go skydiving with your friends in a digital space. And then when you get up and you're maybe physically impaired, or maybe you were born blind or something like that, you now get to live out a whole entire life that was not available to you in the past, right? You could be young again. You could do anything. And there's so many things that exist. I'm going to share it with you guys, and this isn't going to be for everyone, but do you guys know what Black Mirror is? There's this show called Black Mirror on Netflix. If you guys have not seen it, it's like the Twilight Zone, but for the future of technology. It has a lot of episodes. This is all written pretty much by one singular guy. But I recommend you guys start. There's 6 seasons. It's all on Netflix. Start from the first episode's kind of stupid. I mean, it's a lot of people quit on that first episode, but just keep going. There's a certain episode in here I'm going to find. This one, which was nominated for an Emmy, that deals with the exact thing that I'm talking about. So I don't want to spoil this episode, but too much, but basically it's a full dive type episode. So imagine you're in a nursing home and it's like end of life care, but instead of it being that way, everybody in the nursing home is putting on a thing and all partying and having fun like they're 25 years old again.
Well, that's where I would like to go.
I think that a lot of people would want to live life that way. And we're not just talking about older age. We're talking about people that have had serious health issues that stopped them and inhibited them from living the life that they maybe wanted to live. They'll be able to do that in the very near future. And I think that is incredible to think about. But there's also the ramifications for this, right? Like I always have the other end of it. There's gonna be a lot of young people that grow up with this technology that have no desire to deal with the real world when this world is so much better. You know what I mean? They're already in that space where they're like, I'd much rather sit online and do things than interact with the real world. And when they can fully go into these spaces, like if you guys have heard of Ready Player One, it's a book, but it was a film as well that Steven Spielberg directed. Another great way if you want to look at full dive. It's not full dive technology. Full dive is basically chip on the side of your brain, it controls things from a neural space. You're not moving your body around. You're thinking it and it's happening inside of this space. Ready Player One is more like VR headset over your head. You're moving around. But there will be people that work in this space in the future that make a full-time income digitally, like Craig was talking about with surrogates. And they work online and they get in that space and they leave and eat outside of that space, but then they go right back into it because their social life is there, their work is there, and it's just more of a different, I don't know. It's like it's an interesting way to think of the future, but it's like, call it good, call it bad. It's just a different way to think about it, right? There's still
And
going to
Matt,
be people that will go.
there's another
Go ahead,
show
Craig.
too, on Amazon Prime called Upload. Just started
Oh,
season
okay.
3, and it's a different concept, but basically the idea is that when somebody passes away, if you want to keep them alive, supposedly their consciousness is downloaded onto a mainframe, and they
Mhm.
now exist in a VR world
Yeah.
and interact
Well, I mean,
with the real world and the VR world, similar to the way that we are interacting right now on
right.
Zoom or on other with other computer services, and then just we can shut off, walk away, have something to eat, come back, boom, we're on. It's a very fascinating view, and especially the way that
It
Matt
is.
has just described it. There's another thing that if you'd like to look at, it's called Upload on Amazon Prime.
Perfect. Thank you, Craig.
One last thing, Matthew.
Yes, please.
Or Craig. So what I got from my question about that Samsung. So am I getting it right? You're just as good to download or install ChatGPT AI or the Meta one
Meta.
as buying equipment with it all built in.
Yeah, I think that the equipment will be only usable if you're like really into it, like I am at this stage to invest in any of those things. I think you wait a couple of months and the equipment will be meaningless and you'll be like, oh, now I'm doing all this on, like me similarly, right? Like when Sora comes out, listen, I spent a lot of money to build this machine to do all of this, and it will become worthless the moment Sora exists, because
And
I know that
what is Sora? A tool?
Sora is a tool created by OpenAI, and a lot of people, so these are the same people that made ChatGPT, and a lot of people believe that like Sora very well could just be the name for ChatGPT 5. So the way that Sora worked, when you guys saw that video, right? Sora's programming is kind of nuts. So the way that it works, instead of thinking it about a video generation, right? It's not generating that whole video of flying through that space, right? It's not going like the current ones where it's looking at it and going, oh, you want a pig flying? I'm going to show you a video of a pig flying. What Sora does is it builds a whole 3D space and imagines it. So what's so weird, like Craig shared, I'll pull this up actually, because thank you for sharing that, Craig. So here's Sora, right? Sora is a tool by OpenAI, but if you see any of these scenes, it's actually generating all of this in a 3-dimensional space and putting the camera here and moving it. Wow. So imagine how you dream, right? You don't dream in 2-dimensional pictures, you dream in a 3-dimensional space because that's what you're used to seeing in real life. That's exactly what Sora does. So in the future, you'll be able to move this camera around anywhere in this space you want. You could walk down the street if you wanted to.
I love it.
So that's what's going to be really crazy about Sora is actually imagining all of these things and just documenting them. So when you see this car driving through, it's not just imagining this photo, it's imagining everything around this that you can't see too.
Wow.
And
that's amazing.
And that's why it's not really out yet, is that the ramifications for these things, once again, I could go back to the ramifications of it, is that if you could generate pretty much any single thing that you wanted, like say a guy running backwards on a treadmill, or, you know, you can see any shot you basically want, you can make, right? Like, okay, I want that to explode with fire when it happens. Here's it going bad, right? So this person's pulling something that doesn't exist out of the ground. So it still will hallucinate, right? But by the time it comes out, that'll be less the thing. Now, do these people look human to you guys? Because they do to me, but that chair definitely is not normal, right?
Right.
So you can see still how yeah, all of these people are fake. Everything that you see here is not real. Right? So it's pretty nuts how insane this technology is. And like I showed you, it can really do anything you want. It can do 3D movies. It could do anything. So the ramifications for it. I have a corgi myself, so this is great. But yeah, so it's exciting the amount of things that we can do in the future with the technology when it exists. I don't know how much it will cost, if anything. Like we're drastically moving towards this space where OpenAI was developed as a nonprofit to create artificial general intelligence. When it meets that goal, it will basically be free to all of us, including Chat GPT and all of those things. Sora very well could be there. There's already people that work at OpenAI that have said that they've already, or hinted at that they've already accomplished that internally. That there's actually that Sora, the thing that you're seeing, very well could already, all the video you saw outside of that model, it very well could be communicating on a very emotional level already with people in closed doors, what you saw. So I keep saying the ramifications, but the ramifications for that are that we very well could see the next version of what the world will be like, right? We're dealing with something that's smarter than us, and not just smarter than one of us, smarter than all of us. So we'll see how that plays out, but it will play out over the next couple of years. So
thank you, guys.
This isn't in the 10-year future. This is in the very near future.
For me. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah.
Happy Sunday.
To you too.
Deborah, thank you so much. Happy Sunday to you. And all right, we're going to continue. We have Lisa Marie Cook coming up, but first, Kai, come on, open up your camera, please. I know you're there, Kai. There you go. All right, go ahead, open up, and please share with us.
Hey, I'm gonna make it quick. First things first. When it comes to when it for making the quick video for Robert Hollis' testimony, how quick you want it?
Honestly, we'll take anything you can get. So like the thing is like the testimonials that you guys give, we plan on having like an Imaginators page in the future where we can share all your guys' stuff. But really right now, I just want clips of you guys sharing your experience and how great this experience has been for you guys. Because I'm making kind of like a trailer for why people should be part of this. And so so
this is not just AMAs or anything to do with NBC, just in general.
I mean, just the experience that you've had with us in general. It doesn't, if it's with Robert, my dad, or if it's with me or the Imaginators with the Inner Circle, we really just want your guys' opinion of what this experience was like so far.
Right. I wanted to ask that yesterday, but we ran out of time. But
no, I'm going to add also, I'm also going to add, Kai, if you, for some of the, since we do put out the shorts, if you can, you don't say you have to, but if you can, keep it to 60 seconds. Because
that's even better. Craig's right.
Yeah, because then YouTube gets it out. It'll be on. We don't have to fudge with, because sometimes these parameters have different lengths for short videos, and obviously the shorter, in my opinion, the shorter the better, because people again do not have the attention span. So if you can keep it to around 60 seconds, that would be awesome. In fact, 60 seconds or less.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you want to do it, if you want to do it vertically with the camera or anything, it really doesn't matter, because like I was sharing earlier, like when I'm making it, if it was in a different direction, I would just generate the sides with AI of your video that I need. So just shoot it any way you want. But
so I want to keep it as raw and quick as possible, because I don't have a laptop, and I operate everything on my phone. So no green screens, just raw, simple.
That does better though. Like that's the thing, Kai, is like I've worked in this space long enough to know that all the stuff that I'm doing even in the background with my office right now to make it look nice is useless. It's more for me, right? I've seen videos and things go viral where someone was walking down the street or sitting in their car recording on their phone. And I think people are more used to consuming content that way, that it's more genuine. right? It's less
Exactly.
rehearsed. It's
That's what
great.
I've noticed with like a lot of people in the fitness industry now too, is that so many people are doing these videos, workout
Mhm.
videos, comment videos. A lot of it has become so redundant, and it's like a copy horror film formula. And
Right.
now somebody like say, for example, Sam Stolik, who just goes talk while driving, or just while working out, whatever, or in between his breaks. This is an example. He's gotten a lot more hits and more responses than anybody else in that industry alone.
No, that makes
So
sense because I think it's very true, and I think this will happen with AI as well. Like sometimes I'll get this question when I'm talking to people about it, of like, okay, well, I can see where this is all going, right? At some point, I'll be able to make whatever I want for myself. So why would I ever consume anything that anyone else creates anymore when I can get exactly what I want whenever I want it, right? Maybe you want more episodes of The Sopranos, and so you can make them, with AI. So why would you watch someone else's thing? And I think it's the same with the marketing stuff you're talking about right now, which is we get bored of what we want and we don't know what we really want. Like it's interesting when you see a story or someone take a different approach with marketing or whatever it may be. And you go, like, I remember when I was growing up, there was this, the Old Spice commercials. And I'm sure you guys remember with the guy and the horse, right?
how
You
about the
can look them
horse?
up. Yeah, right. And it was like all this crazy nuts things going on to sell body wash, right? So you're like, well, why is there all these things happening just to sell body wash? Well, it was different, right? And that marketing approach was so different that I believe it like messed up ads for a while, because then I would see trailers that and like Geico and these other ones, right? Where it was more like, if I need them to remember this commercial, I don't even care if they know it's about insurance. They'll remember that it's about insurance, but I need them to remember that there was a caveman in this thing instead, right? It's like, what does a caveman have to do with insurance? Nothing, right? But they're aware that if they can do something that's different marketing wise than what everyone else is doing, then that will be noise and it will stand out, right? So I think it's the same with those videos, Kai. It's like everyone's so used to, especially in fitness, I feel like it's gone through ebbs and flows, right? Like I remember the fitness videos growing up where they had the 10 people in the room with the one person and they had the professional video crew and they're doing the whole videotape recording for fitness, right? And it's like, hey, here we are with the Bowflex and everything. And now we're getting to that space where you honestly can make a full-time income just shooting exercise videos off your phone, right? And that's that's a possibility.
I've been really reluctant for doing that because I see everybody following the same formula. A lot of it is because of a marketing company out there who's telling people to do the same thing. It's just blah.
Well, it's interesting
You can tell
because
it's coming from a cookie cutter formula that everybody's
yeah.
doing.
Well, let me give you like my idea about that type of stuff, right? So like when you come at any of those ideas, normally people start doing the same thing over because of research and because it works, right? And I think the goal is not to see it as replicating something or it being white noise, but what you're going to do of your spin on it. Like say someone's throwing darts. I love this analogy because my dad uses it all the time. But say someone's throwing darts and they're constantly hitting the points, but not the bullseye, right? And you know how to get closer and get more points with the bullseye, but you can't hit it either, right? It's great if you share your knowledge with the person that's not even hitting the board, even though you're not hitting the bullseye, right? But maybe if you teach them the basics and they're hitting those points, maybe they figure out their own way to hit the bullseye. And I think that's how marketing works a lot of times. Is you'll see someone come up with a great idea, everybody will replicate it, but then someone will make that same idea with that little different spin. And this is normally how social media works. And that little different spin will make it a new unique version of how to do it, right? So maybe it's a mixture of those two ideas. Maybe it's, yeah, I've seen people even make jokes, right? It's like, okay, so now I'm doing exercise and I'm also a stand-up comedian in a sense. It's like, here's a new spin on it, or I'm doing this and I'm adding these graphics to it. People will make it different, but they'll take the same approach and just change it, like pivot in a different direction and make something completely unique. That's where creativity comes in to it. I feel like in a lot of ways, it's so hard to replicate somebody else that's successful at something because they have the practice. But if you make an attempt, you'll find somewhere in between that's you and their process. And I think that that is lost on a lot of people. I think in a lot of ways we stop ourselves from trying because we're going, oh, everyone does it that way. But if, like, say you wanted to get into the filmmaking world, you'll realize there's a bunch of books back here that tell you to do the exact same shit. And it doesn't matter if you watched a movie from the 1950s or a movie that came out yesterday, they're still using the same techniques. The only difference is they're trying them in a different way. They're maybe flipping the camera in a different way or doing it in a different way. But the techniques and the shots are the same that existed even back then, right? So it's important to go, oh, this is working, but how could I make it different, right? So if they're shooting on their phones, it's working, but how could you make it different? Maybe you do the exercise at a park instead of in your house, or maybe you do it in this space instead of that space, or maybe you say this instead of that, right? Just practice around with it. But the reason that people will replicate what others are doing is because it's working, right? And I think like we want to be so unique, but the reality is that uniqueness is really something you find along the way. In that process. And it's more important to start than it is to think that you're going to make something unique right off the bat, right? I've struggled with this a lot in my creative spaces where I want to make something that's great right off the bat. And I'm realizing through this process that it's more important to get started and make things. And then eventually you'll make something that's great. But it's important to be in the action process of it. So if it's something you're creatively wanting to do, just record those videos and see how you feel about it. But don't like judge the process before you start, because the reality is all of us do that, right? And we'll go, like I don't want to make something because I want it to be unique. I want to stand out. I want it to be different. Truth be told, that's hard to get to. Normally that takes practice to get to. It's not something that's so immediate. So I hope that makes sense to you guys.
Oh, and another thing before I get off of it, as far as your father's pond is concerned, if he needs any help, you can contact aquascapes.com. I know that there is an aquascapes certified pond specialist in your area.
I wish he would do stuff like that, but believe it or not, no matter how much money my dad's made through his life, he's always been the type of person to do that stuff. I don't know why, but I'm so different, even though I'm his son. My younger brother is more like him. They're both out there doing that themselves, and they like doing that type of stuff. There's something in that engineering part of my dad's mind from his past that he still really loves to do that type of stuff himself. And it's like stepping away from one thing into another thing, like I was saying. So for him, I've watched him work on his own cars. I've watched him build ponds and change culverts. And at the same time, it'd be like, hey, Dad, how much did you make this month? And he'd be like, oh, $140,000, but he's still fixing his own pond. I don't get why he would do that, but that's just who he is. So,
that's totally understandable.
Because isn't that funny though? It's like we've hired people to do it before.
Like that too.
Yes. Yeah. So I think for him, that property that he shared with you guys is something that he's improved on and worked. You guys should have saw it before they got it. So it didn't have that waterfall. It didn't have all that stuff we put in there. Right. So I'm glad that we did that, even though I'm much more in the computer world now than I am in any of that physical labor type stuff. But I'm so glad that we did it because it taught me a lot of stuff, right? That I didn't realize at the time. At the time when I was 15, I was like, Dad, please, could we just not do this on the weekend? Could we just not go put a culvert together, right? Do I have to be in the mossy pond flushing this stuff out today? But now that I look at it, he taught me a lot of stuff about taking care of yourself. So now even in situations where I'll have something go on in my own space, I'll go, oh, I could fix that because I've done piping before. I've built, I put tile in a bathroom before, us three. So could he have hired somebody to put tile in there? Yes. But I'm glad that we all three did it. Me, Kyle, and my dad. So if that makes sense, I just don't think he's one to hire people, which is interesting. Oh, yeah. But as he's gotten older, he's gotten more open to it, I'd say. So we'll see. But thank you for that advice, Kai.
Yeah, no problem. When he said he was trying to fix the pond today, I'm like, I think there's an aquascape specialist in your area. I actually know the owner.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as things have gone, I watched my grandpa do this with my dad and all of us when he was getting older. But he would invite us over to help on something in the yard or repair something. And he had turned more into the overseer than the person doing it. And I could see my dad, as I've gotten older and as my younger brother now is about to be 31, he's now in that same space where now my dad could be there and be like, oh, could you just move this to over there? And Kyle's like, no problem. I'm 31. So like, yeah, let's do it. You know what I mean? And I think that Kyle enjoys doing that stuff just as much as my dad. I mean, they've rebuilt, I'm going to visit. And last time I visited, they rebuilt that whole entire bathroom that he has in there. And it used to be totally different. And they just did it, him and my dad. And this was, like I said, same time that my dad's making enough income in 1 month to hire somebody to do it very easily and keep working. But like, I think he likes to step away from time to time and do these types of things. He's always lived that kind of life. I don't know why, but that's just the way he is. So me, on the other hand, I can't wait to have people doing all these things for me. I'm like, please make my meals so me and Hannah don't have to. Please clean my house so I don't have to, type of thing. But I'm not there yet. Hopefully in the future. So thanks, Kai.
No problem. Thank you.
Have a great Sunday. Thanks for being on.
Kai, thank you very much. Okay, so that means then the Foodomatic and the Matomatic should be coming out pretty soon.
That's the thing, is I just have to wait for robots, right? I don't have to really, it's interesting to think, as I get older and think more about me and Hannah both think more about having a family. The ways at which that's going to drastically change in our lives too, right? Like, I'm one of I guess I am the last generation that can remember a time without computers and all these technologies, right? I grew up kind of with them. But you look at the newer generations, and especially when we have children, me and Hannah, thinking what the life they will have when they're 15 in comparison to the life that I had when I was 15 is
it's going
so
to be drastically
going to be completely different.
Yeah.
Right. And so, you got to throw a lot of the parenting books out because you're going, where are they going to go to school? Where are they going to do this and that? And it's like, yeah, but ChatGPT will be better than any teacher. So homeschooling then becomes even better, right? So then it's like, what social activities can we put them in when they have a tutor that they'll grow up with that will teach them anything and always be there and excited to teach them and meet them where they're at? It's like, I don't know why I would. Yeah, it will be. Well, it's like, I don't know why I would put them in front of a teacher when I could put them in front of an AI that's better.
Well, there's that, but then there's also, like you just said, the social implications behind it, because, getting out and being with people, meeting people. I mean, you have.
I'll get them into soccer or something,
Right. But even then, you have these games that are out there, that you can play in your home.
Right.
I mean, and, you go to Dave & Buster's and there's a full batting cage there.
And the gamification of education too will happen more and more. AI will be that stepping stone between the newer generation and the older generation, because the reason that none of these kids are paying attention to these curriculums and teachers is they're not teaching kids for the current world. They're teaching kids for the world that no longer exists.
Exactly.
Right. It's like, sit down and I'm going to teach you all at the same level. Here's history. And if you don't like history, odds are you had a bad history teacher. Right. And that sucks, because Hannah did not have a good history teacher when she went to high school. So she was bored and she didn't like history as much.
And probably because the teacher was bored in the way that they presented it. Yet you see other teachers that are out there who get into costume, or they bring in certain other elements. And that was my favorite teacher.
So imagine AI figuring out how a child loves to learn and teaching them in that way for everything. Absolutely. And then also realizing, they're excelling at history. There's no reason for grades to exist. Let's teach this kid history at the level they're currently at mentally. And then it'll allow us to excel certain people.
And if they're not excelling in that, this is where your trade schools or your trade environments can benefit. You know, you may not be a smart person, but boy, you know how to work with your hands,
Right.
and you could be a craftsman or something. You know, it's and those trades they need people now.
Well, what's interesting is even as machines and AI start to take over those trades, I think what will come back, you guys, is old-fashioned human work.
Mm-hmm.
Like people will love, well, they'll go back because of universal basic income and these other things. There'll be more refined creative work. So it's like, yes, I would love to have in my yard a swing that's handcrafted from wood by a human being that excels at that art.
Yeah.
I don't want something that's perfectly made by a machine. I want something that's refined by a human being. And that will become a whole business in and of itself that people will make full-time income off of because, you know, just as you walk down those streets and you see those little stores of handcrafted things, and we've been to Temecula, California a few times, and there's a lot of those stores, right? With woodworking or with certain claymation art or anything like clay art and stuff. I think that those things will become even more so the case because just like I go to vinyl record stores, even though I can listen to any music imaginable on the internet, I love collecting the physical records. I love putting them physically on the record player. I enjoy that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
books, I could read any book back here on a Kindle. I don't need to, I'm about to move this summer to a new house. And it's not fun to move 300 books. The amount of weight that it is to move all these things sucks. I could put them all on a Kindle, but I don't like that. I like to pull them out physically. And plus, I love the smell of it. Call me weird, but I love the smell
No,
of the office with all the books in it. So.
And the fact that you're physically reading and doing something with that book. So yeah, it's the
Depending on what it is. Some of these are like 1,000 pages poems, and it's not as easy to read. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read this on Kindle. I have this to collect. I like to collect
or
these
on
things,
on an airplane when you've got this thick, huge book like this.
Airplane is true.
Boom, 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 boom. Very, swipe it. All right, we have Lisa Marie with her hand still up, and then I have one other question after that from Rebecca David. So we're gonna get to everybody before we go ahead and close out today's Imaginators. So Lisa Marie, why don't you go ahead and open up and please share with us?
Okay, hi guys.
Hi, Lisa Marie.
Awesome information, Matthew. You're amazing.
Thank you. So are you.
You truly are. You are the man. You know, and I can so relate with Robert in the property thing because, you know, let me just tell you a little bit about how amazing Freddie is. We have built everything that we have, just him and I.
That's amazing.
I mean,
yeah,
that is. And
I'm sure you both take like a lot of pride in that too, which is another element of it.
We do, absolutely. Our property means a lot to us, you know, and there's so many things. There's always improvements. There's always, I mean, we built this with our own two hands. Could we have afforded to hire it out? No, no. That's why we did it, you know.
But that's the thing. My dad comes from that same place and he's never lost that element, right? So it's like instead of him always thinking, oh, I could just hire somebody to do this. You know, certain rich people will say this. They'll go, you know, I can calculate my time and I know it's more worth my time to keep working and hire somebody than it is to do it myself. I've heard my dad say that for certain things, but never for this type of stuff. He always likes going out and doing it. He fixes his own sprinklers, for God's sakes.
Fred, everything. It's unheard of for us to take anything to get fixed anywhere. That's unheard of. He just built a thing to pull my car on so he could stand up and change the oil. It's like
my grandfather was the same way. He had a big shop in outside of his house that he would tinker and build things in.
Yeah.
Anything my grandma needed or my family needed, we all knew it was like, or if something broke, right? Like when I was a little kid, my toys would break. Right. And I would just give them to my grandpa, and it didn't matter what toy it was. He'd just go into his workshop and fix it.
Right.
Like
I think that is so cool. That is so cool. Fred can look at any piece of equipment. I don't care what it is. You see it on the cover of a magazine. He just looks at it. He can go home and build it. He can fabricate it.
Right.
Unbelievable. So I am the landscaper type, but and I do all that stuff. But anyway, he's taught I can work right next to him. You know, I don't care if it's on the electric or the plumbing or whatever. I can do it too. You
Yeah,
know, so
my mom had me and Kyle, two young sons, and then we had my older brother. So she's
right,
always she was in that situation where she was like, okay, I we have enough men here. You guys do it.
right,
So, but
exactly.
mowing the yard or doing any of those yard work, landscaping, she's always been out there helping us. She's actually
Right,
normally the one that would be out and start mowing, and then we'd all be like, okay, we have to go. Because it's like
right,
that
right.
guilty
That'd be
feeling,
me
right? It's
too.
like mom's out there, so we're not gonna let her do it. Are you kidding me?
Right, right,
So
right. No, and you know what? I'm always on that tractor too. So, but whatever. But see, that's the point that I'm coming to right here because my time outside, especially trying to get this rescue farm open, whatever, there is so much to do. And I do not want to be spending all my time on the computer. I don't.
mhm,
You know, in the middle of the winter for, you know, that 3 hard months, yeah, absolutely. But not the
right.
rest of the time. I much rather be outside and being active in what needs to be done. That's my priority. So I'm struggling a bit with it- getting that content that I want. I think
Mhm.
once I do have, you know, what I've got up here in Vision, I think I can automate that more and be able to spend less time on the computer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, so the issue that I'm coming up with is, and we talked about this once already, and that was getting the same character very difficult. Now, when you showed Adobe Premiere Pro,
Mhm.
it showed him removing an object, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if you can remove an object, why can't you take a silhouette
Mhm.
or part of an actual picture and cut that out and replace it or
Yeah. No,
put it into a
you
different
absolutely can.
background?
Yeah, you
Okay.
absolutely can, and it's gonna get better and better with that stuff. Even what I was kind of
Hmm.
talking to Deborah about, Lisa
Yeah.
Marie, I would focus more right now on writing down your ideas for your stories
Okay.
and doing recording content for outside of you guys doing that stuff and uploading that. um
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
give work on that stuff, on building it, and let Buddy's place, like the animated stuff and everything, let the
Hmm.
technology catch up to where you currently are and want to do it, and just keep the
Oh,
ideas
okay.
going. Because the truth is if you're more inspired and get more ideas and more of that stuff being out there, then that's where you're meant to
Mhm.
be,
Right,
right?
right.
And the
Yeah.
content that you guys make, like if you just pull out your phone and start recording you guys going through each process of that, right?
Yeah.
Upload them as
Yep.
shorts. You will get a following of people that will support you and donate to you just from that. So then when you do have the opportunity to make these shorts and push it to another level or do whatever you want with the Buddies
Mhm.
Place stuff, the technology will be there where it really will be more of a communication process, like I was talking about with Deborah in earlier,
Right.
and less of you having to sit down, edit all these things together and spend so much time on your computer, right? Like I
Right.
think I truth be told, you could even get to a place where just by recording your guys' journey on building Buddy's Place as a sanctuary, you might
Hmm.
get someone like me that shows up, or like Corky's had, that will go, I have the technical skills and love for this. I'll help you do it. I'll do that element of it. And I think that that's more of a possibility than it is for you to go sit down and learn all this technology.
Yeah, it's
Like,
not, I
if it's
don't
not a passion
feel,
of yours, right?
yeah. Yeah,
Which
because
is
you
my
know,
dad, right? My dad's in the exact same situation. No matter how much
absolutely.
AI
Yeah.
stuff I share, I know for a fact my dad's not going to sit down and do any video generative AI stuff at all until it's at the
Right.
point where he can sit down and communicate with it and get it done. Like,
Do
he's
you
just not going
know
to go through that
how
process.
relieved I feel just after
Well, yes,
I,
but you want to be where you're most inspired, especially with where
right.
things are going, right? So I would focus
Yeah.
on thinking, how could I How could I show me and Freddie developing the sanctuary? Or even I've seen your guys' shorts, the ones that especially
Mhm.
do well on your channel. And what are they?
Yeah.
They're you guys out on your land doing
Everything
the things that
outside. Yeah.
exactly.
Nothing that I create is catching anything.
Well,
Do you know what I
that's because excitement, passion, confidence are what makes things move. I could show you
Yeah.
guys this whole TED Talk and I'll link it, but this dude sits in front of the whole TED Talk for 6 minutes and doesn't give anyone any information. And it's one of the best TED Talks I've ever seen.
I saw that. Yes.
The
It's
reason
fun.
for it is
Yeah.
because it doesn't really matter so much what you're talking about as much as you're excited about what you're talking about. And this is what my
Right.
dad shares in sharing like an opportunity or something that you're
Hmm.
excited about. Is truth be told, if you can't get excited and you have the doubt in yourself, I don't think you're going to move anybody to get excited themselves. And the
Right.
reason that you guys can get on and get so excited about what you're going to do and lose that the moment you get off one of these calls is because you don't have me talking about AI or my dad talking about what he's doing anymore. Because we have that
Right.
confidence and excitement, or Craig, we have that confidence and excitement to share it with you and get you excited. But you have to find what that is in yourself to keep that
Right.
going, right?
Yeah,
So,
I stress so, and it's like Robert
well,
hit me
because,
the
yeah.
other day when he said, you know, you got to be enjoying it, and that's where your priorities come from. Is, you know, if I'm not enjoying it, if I'm not, and see if Bob is
Mhm.
still on here, you know, I feel so terrible for him because he's trying to help me. He's trying to get my a
Well, that's
website.
just who Bob is though. Like similarly to
Yeah,
what I've said, we've got people like myself, Bob, Craig. I can't tell you guys. Like I've had to make a step back because yes, Lisa Marie, you've seen, I will make buddies play stuff and send it to you. And there is an element of me that used to exist years ago before I respected myself more, where I
yeah.
would do a lot of the work for people. And
Hmm.
I know me and Bob still, and Craig, we still help you guys out with a bunch of stuff. And Bob is similar to me in so many ways in
Absolutely,
that
he
stuff.
is.
He,
He
but the
is.
thing is you can't worry about that because one, Bob's doing what he wants to do. And two, I can't tell you guys how much shit I've learned by helping other people. So it's not like if Bob's going at this different route with how do I build this website and how do I help Lisa Marie out, he's learning how to market in a totally different way than maybe he's marketed before. For me,
Right.
sometimes that education was worth it. There's certain aspects, like he just said in chat, Lisa Marie, it's not a problem. He's got other
Mm,
stuff.
yeah,
So
I know, but
helpers are going to show up.
yeah, he's amazing. And I
Yeah.
feel like I've kind of had him out there in the wind because I'm not deciding, do I want to dedicate my time to this building this animated series that I want, that it's frustrating for me, and
Keep
I'm
keep the writing, like Jamie said, even in here. You guys, if I showed you all of these tools, right? And how they're coming about. And every single week when I get on here, there will be more, right? So
yeah.
in the situation we're currently in, I think the most important thing, if you're not into the technical aspects of this, the most important thing you
My
could
mind
focus on.
wants to be. I love being creative, but
Mhm.
it's very difficult, and I
Yeah,
get
you'll have to focus on
frustrated.
where that creativity is. See, for me, I'm such a visual person that I've tried writing books and I've tried doing those things. Not that I don't love writing, and it's one of my favorite things to do in my life, but I think
Hmm.
of everything scene wise, visual wise, editing wise. So when I get in front of an editing software like you guys just saw, I'm going, this is where I get to do my magic, right? This
Right.
is where the story comes together for me. If that editing part is not exciting for you, then yes, AI will get to a point where it can edit it well enough that you won't have to learn the tools of editing to figure out how to do it.
Right.
Um, so I think that I would wait for that if I
That's,
was you guys. I would
I just
focus
feel so much
completely on
better.
writing and like completely on your story and the creative
Mhm.
process of that, because we're also very close to being able to feed that into an AI completely. And it will start making things that then you can be that director, like I said with Deborah,
Yeah.
and go, oh,
But
I want Buddy to
I'm
look more like this or more
excited.
like that.
I'm
Yeah.
excited about all of it. I mean, the characters that I've created by prompting, I mean,
Mhm.
that is so exciting, and I love playing with that. But when it comes
Keep
to
playing
putting
with it. Yes.
it all together, it's like,
Don't let that part stop.
mm,
That's the cool part about all these tools, right?
yeah,
Is
yeah.
you guys are talking to me right now, right? So you guys have seen the projects that I've been working on. I've showed you elements of that process. Where are they? Where are the feature length farmer video? Where's my serpentine video? The reason that those don't exist yet is every single time I start the process, I'm learning that the technology is so exponentially fast that I'm better off refining what I want to say and the stories of what I want to say, and then letting the technology catch up to the point that makes it easier than spending so much time with the technology and so little time on the writing and making the story
Yeah.
great. Like that's the
Yes.
important part.
You
So
nailed it.
figuring that out is more important, I think. And the technology will continue to get better, and I'll continue to share with you guys how to use it.
Hmm.
At some point, Lisa Marie, you might get on one of these calls and be like, now it's at the point where it hooks me, where I feel like I want to learn this element of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But listen, if you have to learn right now, composition, prompting, editing, audio, voiceover, these are so many different avenues, and you have to pull all of those tools together
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Yes, there might be an AI tool for music, but now you have to go learn how to prompt and do that where you want. That might be weeks, and then bring that in. And then it's like, maybe it's just better that I wait for a thing where I can say, here's what Buddies looks like. Here's what the farm looks like. We've refined that. I want a country song that sounds like this. And then Sora comes back and makes you a country song that sounds like you want, puts it over everything. That's
Hmm.
all going to exist in the next year.
Yeah.
So just wait. Yeah, do what
I
you love
I
first, like
feel
Karen
so
said.
much better. Thank you. I could
Yeah.
smooch you right now.
I'm glad I made you feel better, because like
Yeah.
I honestly feel like a lot of people feel like they're missing out in some way too, where they're
Mhm.
like, oh, if I don't get on this stuff, I'm missing out on this massive opportunity that's going to exist. I would like to be at the forefront of it, right? Just know you guys are already there by sitting on this call right now. Majority of people don't even know this technology exists. They don't know where it's at. They don't know what's happening or what's going on. And they don't care to as of yet. If anything, it's more in the negative world, right? Like I posted AI art and I still get a lot of negativity for posting it from a large amount of people going like, this is the devil. Why are you using this? Like it's don't you realize you're ripping off every artist in existence? And it's like, okay. You know,
Mhm.
I don't know where you think this is going, but it's clearly not going in the direction you think it is. It's like no one's
Right.
going to ban all this technology because you think that, right? So, yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you
Uh,
guys so much.
Oh, I feel so much better. I love you guys. You guys are
Love you
awesome.
too. Thanks, Lisa Marie. Thanks for being on here. Great. I hope that helped a lot of people out, because I'm sure there's a bunch of people I've seen in the chat that were in a similar situation where they're seeing what I'm doing and what I'm sharing and going, oh man, I would love to hop on board with that. The reality is I feel like I was naturally made for this situation. And that's why I'm so excited to be in it, because like it's a merging of two technologies that I really love and adore, which is, you know, artificial intelligence and virtual reality and computers and storytelling. All of these things are things that I've loved my entire life. So that's why I'm so excited to play around with them. But if you guys aren't excited about film editing, all these different elements, then don't be messing around with them. Just wait, right? The tools will get better and better. So
Exactly. Real quick question before we call it quits for the day. Rebecca David said, Matt, are you familiar with Delphi.ai?
I know a little bit about it, and now there's going to be a bunch of tools that are going to exist as that, especially as that Microsoft type stuff starts to exist. Whether it's like, okay, I'm going to make an AI of myself, or I'm going to make an AI to replicate this channel or be whatever. AI assistants or AI versions of yourself are going to grow and grow and grow as things happen. I think that they're at the point right now where, yes, it might seem like the easy route to like go a certain direction. I just have not really played around with those tools enough to give you that information. Like I would find a YouTube channel that like specializes in that. I know there's like Hey Jen, and there's a couple of other ones like Delphi that are like, whether they're full chat bots that replicate the way that you talk or replicate the way that you do things, so they can have like full conversations with people on your website or through Facebook Messenger or whatever. yes, these technologies exist. I just am not using them. So I would find somebody who is and like learn from them. But I have heard of them. I think that if I was in like the network marketing space or the marketing space, I might have more of like a look at them, right? But I would also, at the same time, you guys go back to, yes, I know the things that made my dad a millionaire and made his business work, and it was that person-to-person connection. And I think that that aspect will actually become more important because, believe it or not, Facebook, especially Facebook, you guys, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, I could keep going. Everything X too. All of these things are already full of AIs communicating with you that you don't understand. Writing comments, making pictures, doing all these things. If you guys want to see something, there's this theory. I'm going to pull it up. And we'll leave it with this because it's one of those theories that's existed for a bit that's becoming more true, kind of like the Sora stuff or anything like that. So this is the dead internet theory. And this theory is, it's a conspiracy theory until it's not, right? But this is a theory that a lot of algorithms over the years have made these AI chatbots to make the website seem more active and bring more traffic, but also keep people more interested in them, even though none of these posts or these people are real. So a majority, and they found now at this point, it's over 50% of all the stuff that's generated on the internet is not real, right? And that's going to become more and more so the case. So when you're having a conversation or you see a comment or a video that gets you like riled up on the internet to respond, I'd ask you to think about this. Think about whether that is on there to keep the discourse going, keep you going, because engagement sells ads. And if engagement sells ads, then they're just going to keep doing it, right? So when I showed you Meta AI and where it's at, you best believe that if Facebook wants to make their website look active, they definitely use that AI. And there's no oversight to these at all. No government oversight to these things at all. And there's more than enough lobbying power to make sure that that's not the case as well. So yeah, imagine you'll see the dead internet theory. It's gained more traction as there's new models. And you can look this up yourself. The large language model and ChatGPT-1 really exponentially made this theory more so the case, but it's been around, I think, since like 2016. But they give the death of the internet, the real old internet, 2016. So the moment that chatbots started to become a thing, the moment AI's exponentially grown, the less the internet will be real people and the more it will just be chatbots. So X and some of these other platforms might lean into a direction where you have to actually show your identification to make an account or pay to be approved that you're a real person to communicate on them in certain spaces, because there's going to be a lot of large language models that you'll be communicating with that you won't realize. You might fall in love with someone on Facebook. I communicated through Facebook Messenger with Hannah, and that's how we started talking, my wife of almost 10 years now. In the future, there's going to be people that are talking to you on Facebook that are not going to be real people. They're going to be AI, and you won't know that they're not. And if you go, hey, show me a picture of you holding a piece of paper saying I'm not AI and with your screen name on it, yeah, an AI can generate that photo of themselves and make it look that way. So it's unbeatable in a sense, right? Like that CAPTCHA technology, and you guys hate where it's like, pick the 5 signs that look like this or do this or that, right? ChatGPT can already pass those tests. It has been able to do that for a while. So they're kind of useless, but we don't really have another version of this to fix that, right? We really don't. We have to have an AI to look over the AIs, right? But yeah, a lot of people will create AI partners. That's going to be a whole business in and of itself. They said it'll be a $1 billion business a month for AI companions, like that people fall in love with, build connections with. This already has started to exist. So, loneliness is worse than it's ever been. The loneliness epidemic has grown as our individualism has grown. And I think as the individuality grows, the more we'll want somebody that's more refined to us, right? Like it's interesting because you'll have a whole group, like say my children as they grow up. I wonder if they'll grow up in a space where they'll be like, yeah, my first relationship was with an AI partner and not with a human being. Right? I don't know how that will work because robots will get better too. So it'll be a weird world to live in, because then I'll be like, yeah, me and your mom met on like social media and we just talked, and then I flew out and met her and we fell in love and did all this stuff, and it'll be like, yeah, that's totally different from me now. Right? Like I was in a VR, there's a lot of VR spaces that exist where people have met, fallen in love, and gotten married in VR. There's this place called VR Chat, if you guys look it up, that's grown exponentially as the VR headsets have. And this basically is a whole Second Life type place where you get to go to bars and drink with friends and do all these things. And it's massive. Like there's a large community, and that grows every single month, how big it is. So with that said, you guys, I'm going to close this out. I know it's Sunday. Thank you guys for being on here for the last 2 hours and letting me share. Is there any other questions, Craig, before we go?
No, we are definitely caught up right now.
Yep.
So
awesome.
All right. That being the case, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be part of the Imaginators.
I love that.
So got to give props and shout outs to Deborah Bronner, Kai Al, Lisa Marie Cook, Rebecca David for participating, and Matt, bless you. Thank you so very much.
Bless
Great
you too,
to see
Craig.
you.
Thank you for being on here and helping
and sharing. Yeah, it really helps. And Robert, I know you're busy doing your thing, but just want to say shout out to you too. We miss you. We thank you.
Just be careful with your shoulder, for God's sakes.
Yes, please. Definitely. And if you want to save the chat, there is some information that we shared in both chats on YouTube. Of course, it'll be there shortly hereafter in the description, or just follow the chat once the video recycles and resets, or come here on Zoom. If you're on Zoom, just click those 3 dots in the meeting chat next to the Imaginators title. Click on the 3 dots, click on Save Chat. It will download to your computer as we sign off. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Until next time, please be good to yourselves, be cash, keep sharing the Robert Hollis videos. And until next time, bye-bye. I'm going to go ahead and unmute as we say so long.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
care, everybody.
Thank you guys so much. Thanks for being on here.
Thank you, guys.
Love you so much.
Robert.
Love you guys.
Great
Happy
job,
Sunday.
guys.
Thank you guys.
Matthew and Craig. Bye-bye.
Thank you
I
guys so
appreciate you
much.
guys.
Enjoy
Thank
your
you.
day.
Get that echo back, Craig. I really missed that one when you said imagine.
You mean Imaginators?
By the way,
I've been doing it every time, Peter. I don't know what you've been missing. You're probably because
I
you're in
want
the
more
car.
of that. One of the great things about this stuff is Craig sharing that element of his personality. I love that you share that stuff, Craig. Thank you so much. You make these calls so much more alive, so I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.